Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. And while this is The Other Side of Midnight, the moon is bright. If you have questions, comments, or anything related to space or the moon that you'd like to share with Dr. Sky, he's going to join me for the next hour. You can go ahead and give us a call at 646-720-0635. Meantime, former First Deputy Mayor Shenna Wright's resignation has raised more questions than answers, especially as we've now uncovered that her law license has been suspended for the past 15 years. This is an explosive revelation, and it's astonishing that it hasn't been reported anywhere else until now. For those curious, I've tweeted the documentation, and you can see it on my Twitter at Frank Morano. I was tipped off to this recently, but the person that tipped me off to this apparently even informed the New York Post weeks ago, before she was resigning and before she was under investigation. The development is important for several reasons. First, Mayor Eric Adams and his transition team were well aware of Wright's suspended license when they appointed her to one of the most critical jobs in city government. And yet they still appointed her. Yet no one in the media who's supposed to be holding our public officials accountable seemed to catch wind of it. How does someone with a 15-year law license suspension get appointed to such a powerful role without a peep from the press? Second, it begs the question, why was her license suspended in the first place? There's been no clarity on this. She was scheduled to get her law license back next year, but it's hard not to wonder what could have led to such a lengthy suspension. What did she do? And why was this not discussed publicly when she was handed such a pivotal role in city governance? Wright's ties to some of the most powerful figures in the city make this even more concerning. She's married to the former schools chancellor, David Banks, who had his last day yesterday, the city's top educator. Her brother-in-law is Philip Banks, who until very recently was the city's top law enforcement official. With such influential connections, shouldn't we at least know what caused her to lose her license for over a decade? This story is part of a broader pattern of high-level resignations and scandals surrounding Mayor Adams' administration, and the lack of transparency here is absolutely alarming. Wright's resignation, alongside her family's deep entanglements in city government, leaves New Yorkers with far more questions than answers. It's time for some transparency about why her license was suspended and how that was seemingly ignored when she was given such an important role.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. I have followed New York City and New York State government for a long time. And there's one thing that has been almost universally true. When the mayor and the governor are in the same political party, they tend not to get along. I don't know if it's because of the natural tension between city and state governance. I don't know if it's because the governor doesn't have the bully pulpit of the mayor. I don't know if it's because there's a constant fight over who's going to be the top dog in a given political party. But we saw it certainly with Ed Koch and Mario Cuomo. We absolutely saw it with Rudy Giuliani and George Pataki. We absolutely saw it with Andrew Cuomo and Bill de Blasio. I'll tell you where we haven't been seeing it lately, and that's between Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams. They've always seemed to have a pretty decent relationship, but it's not exactly a warm and cozy relationship until now. Now remember, I predicted, and it looks like this was an erroneous prediction, after Adams's indictment that Hochul would remove him. But she hasn't. Instead, apparently what's been reported is she has urged Eric Adams to clean house, and he has absolutely been doing that, and Hochul seems pretty pleased. Here she was just a day or so ago at the Columbus Day Parade talking about the advice she gave the mayor and what they've been doing.
I had asked him to work to bring in new blood and new people to help stabilize the city, calm it all down, and he's doing that. And so we're working closely together to work on the crime issues, which are going down dramatically. So we're working together, and my team is closely integrated, working with his team as well.
Now that's a glowing endorsement. Sounds like he's doing the best job ever. And now the latest victim of Mayor Adams' firing spree is his close friend Phil Banks, who was the deputy mayor for public safety. You remember him. His sister-in-law was also the first deputy mayor. His brother was the school's chancellor. And yesterday, Mayor Adams announced that Chauncey Parker is going to be the new deputy mayor for public safety. Here was the mayor's announcement.
Chauncey has been a leader in this area for over 40 years of law enforcement experience to run our public safety apparatus. We have taken a different approach on public safety in the city, and we include every aspect of it. And Chauncey has already played a major role in how he goes about bringing all of the federal, state, and local law enforcement entities together.
What's amazing about this is that essentially Hochul is now controlling the hiring and firing of every important position in city government. This is more of a hold on New York City than any governor has had since maybe Rockefeller.
Beam me up.
To be continued.
Get ready for Universal Epic Universe, featuring the wizarding world of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, and Super Nintendo World. Now open at Universal Orlando Resort. Tickets and packages on sale now at universalorlando.com.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
In my continuing effort to educate everybody as to what the ballot propositions are on the ballot that New Yorkers are going to be voting on this year, today we are going to be taking a look at proposition number 5 on the ballot, which deals with capital planning in New York City. In simple terms, this proposal is about how the city assesses its facilities and infrastructure needs and how that information feeds into capital planning, the process of planning and budgeting for large, long-term investments like repairing roads, bridges, or public building. What this proposal would do is require more detailed assessments of the city's facilities. It mandates that those assessments play a bigger role in informing capital planning, and it updates the deadlines for submitting capital plans. In short, it's supposed to give the city a clearer picture of what it owns, what condition it's in, and how much it'll cost to maintain. Now, if you vote yes on this proposition, you're essentially saying that the city needs to be more detailed and transparent in how it plans for infrastructure maintenance and that these assessments should be more timely. A no vote keeps things the way they are with no new requirements for greater detail or planning deadline. Supporters of Prop 5 argue that this is a step towards better capital planning. They believe the city's infrastructure is in desperate need of repair and updating, and having more detailed assessments will lead to more informed decisions about where to spend money and when. It might not be a magic bullet, but it could lead to better planning or at least more accurate cost estimates. Opponents, on the other hand, say the language in the proposal is misleading. Groups like New Yorkers Defending Democracy and the Surveillance Technology Oversight Project argue that this won't actually improve transparency or fix the underlying issues in the city's infrastructure planning. They claim this is more about appearances than real improvements. Now, here's my take. Is this the most exciting proposition on the ballot? Probably not. It's hard to get too worked up about capital planning details, but at the end of the day, the city's infrastructure planning is an absolute mess. If this proposal can help improve planning even a little bit, whether by producing more accurate assessments or better cost estimates, then I think that's worth something. That's why I'm going to be voting yes on Proposition 5. It might not be revolutionary, but if it moves the ball forward by one iota, it's a step in the right direction. So I've gone through ballot propositions 1 through 5 that you're going to be seeing on the ballot this year. And tomorrow, we'll go through our final proposition on the ballot, ballot proposition 6. The one to keep an eye on, though, is Prop 1. That's the most important one, and that's the one that'll lead to the biggest change in New Yorkers' lives.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
There's an alarming story coming out of the Bronx this week. A New York Focus investigation has revealed that the Bronx Democratic Party has failed to disclose over $400,000 in campaign contributions it's received over the last 4 years. That's a pretty big oversight. The funds, which were transferred in more than 20 installments by the State Democratic Assembly Campaign Committee, chaired by Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz, were never properly reported, and what's even more troubling is that it's unclear what this money was used for. This is a major violation of campaign finance law. The committee's contributions should have appeared in the Bronx Party's records, but for some reason, they didn't. Now we're left with more questions than answers. Why was this money sent to a borough that almost exclusively elects Democrats? The Bronx, politically speaking, isn't exactly a battleground. So why pump so much money into a place where Democrats already dominate, while candidates in much tighter races across the state were left without adequate support? Even some Democratic incumbents, like former Assemblyman Stephen Engelbright from Suffolk County, say they reached out for help from the Democratic Assembly Campaign Committee but didn't get the backing they needed. Yet, during the same period, nearly $200,000 was funneled into the Boogie Down Bronx. So where did that money go? And why wasn't it reported? The Bronx Democratic Party has reported spending less than $75,000 since 2020, mostly on consultants. This means there's a massive discrepancy between the funds they received and what they claim to have spent. It's incredibly suspicious. Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie, one of the most powerful politicians in the state and the honorary chair of this same committee, also represents the Bronx. While there's no direct evidence yet, you have to wonder whether Hastie had anything to do with steering this money into the borough. And what's even more shocking is the apparent lack of response from the state's Board of Elections, which is responsible for regulating campaign finance. They've taken no action, and requests for comment from them have gone unanswered. In my opinion, this whole situation is absolutely outrageous. It stinks of an attempt to keep this hidden from the public, a way to pull a fast one without anyone noticing, hundreds of thousands of dollars unreported in a borough where there's barely any political competition. It doesn't make any sense. If this were an honest mistake, we'd see some accountability, some transparency from the party or the state, but instead, we're met with silence. And you have to ask yourself, if this were a pro-Trump organization, would the local DA or the Attorney General be this silent? I think we all know the answer to that.
Beam me up!
To be continued.